Okay, we'll go ahead and call our monthly board meeting to order. I'd like to welcome everyone here tonight, and we're looking forward to a good meeting, and we're going to start off, as always, with our prayer and our pledge, and Commissioner Walker will lead us in our prayer, and Commissioner Ellis will lead us in our pledge.
So everyone stand, please. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. Dear Lord, we just thank you for the opportunity to meet and do the people's business, dear God, in this house that's been standing for many years now. And dear Lord, I just pray as we meet, we would seek to do what's right in your sight and best for the people we represent. And dear Lord, we just pray for the nation of Israel right now that's been attacked. I just pray you watch over that nation and may our country stand with them. And dear Lord, thank you for your many blessings and thank you for salvation. In your name we pray, amen.
Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hear a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Hear a motion to approve the agenda for tonight?
So moved.
Second. Motion second. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Under performance tonight, we're going to move the Carson House update down to Bright Blood citizen comments. So make a note of that. We'll not have that at this time. We're moving on down to citizen comments. We'll go ahead and hear an update from our tag office, and we've got, I guess, Linda, you're doing that?
And Daphne.
Okay, Linda and Daphne both, okay.
So, we're here tonight to revisit the bringing in the wildlife services to our LPA, our tag office. And we have talked about it many months ago, and we just wanted to really answer any questions, give you some information that we have found out regarding to do the services for McDowell County. And I'm going to turn it over to Daphne because she is the LPA manager, and she's done this for over 25 years. She also was a wildlife agent when she was at Morganton's LPA. So she's very familiar with the process and all the services and so forth.
So we have submitted our application, and we're just waiting on the approval, and then they'll send in a wildlife officer to inspect our office to make sure that we'd be able to do that service. And then we just have a proposed wildlife services. I think y'all have that in your packet. And it's just like ODS, how we'll do, because we probably do a lot better, I think.
Okay.
But any questions or anything y'all might want to know or ask?
Any question for you?
Daphne, I'll just state this. I mean, it looks like the first year that we're not projecting a big revenue, but the main thing is you're providing the service, which is wonderful. And a lot of times people come to me stating that they would like to have that service centrally located. And so I'm excited that we're getting the opportunity to offer this. And I'll just say this, our tag office does an excellent job. The ladies in there and gentlemen work really hard. And we appreciate the work you do. You do wonderful. Keep up the good work.
We will get like $12 off of every title and registration that we do for a vessel. And with the license, hunting and fishing, it's like $4 per transaction.
And any title work that we do is also notaries, so they have to notarize it, so we get our notary, which is McDowell County. So we do.
Well, it would just be so much handier for the people here in the
Yeah, I mean, there's nobody really offers that.
Most people don't mind paying. They got to pay it either way, whether they have it mailed to them or whatever. Yeah, I think that works very well. Anybody else have any comments?
We need a motion to go ahead and accept the wildlife services.
Yes.
I'd like to make that motion as presented.
Second.
Motion second. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, ladies.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Yeah. Moving on to old business, the City of Marion request, Mr. Wood.
Yes, sir.
We meet monthly with the city of Marion and, of course, talk about many areas of common interest, whether it's utility extensions, cooperative projects, and very much lately it has been the Marion Fire Department. As you know, you have a cooperative agreement there where you have a 50-50 funding relationship that dates back many decades, where the city of Marion taxpayers are funding 50% of that operation. And then what's called the Marion Area Fire District, which encircles the city, is providing the other half. There is a contract, an interlocal agreement in place for the city that provides for that funding relationship. And so the way that contract is set up, major expenditures are approved by this board, staffing additions, grants, those sorts of things. Anything that's going to commit the county taxpayer in that district additional funding has to come before this board, the way the agreement is set up. And so, for example, about maybe 13 months ago, you approved the purchase of 2 fire trucks. That was as a result of some combined effort with legislative assistance. That was put into financing, and those trucks are on order. Tonight's topic of discussion is related to a brush truck. Several months ago, city leadership made it known that their current brush truck, which I believe is a 2009, was experiencing engine troubles. And so there was a discussion about what that would cost to replace that truck. What was proposed was a remount, which is essentially the box on the rear of the vehicle was removed. The new chassis is purchased, and that box where the equipment is stored is put back on the chassis. That cost was about, for a remount, was about $205,000, which is obviously a lot of money. In these meetings, the chair and vice chair had listened to the request from the fire chief and the city leadership. Mr. Brown asked in those meetings about the possibility of doing engine replacement. That was communicated through city staff to the fire department and was found to be an agreeable solution, adding some time to that truck, maybe 4 or 5 more years for the current mileage. So the city manager has presented a cost estimate. It's a little over $23,000 total. That would be for the replacement of that engine, and the cost share would be a little over $11,700 for county's share if you approve of that.
That beats $205,000.
That's gonna be my statement.
I think it's a reasonable alternative to what we were looking at, and I'd like to move that we approve that.
Second. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you.
Can I ask a favor?
Yes, sir.
Can we ask the city of Marion to give us a line item budget so that we can, because in what I've read over this, there were some open issues that they may not have certain amounts in line, but just to ask for a line item budget so that they are requesting, when they request such as this, they've got that in their budget, and as well as if they are interested in increasing the fire tax. I think that it's, the other fire departments are up front with us, and I just feel like there's a miss there between us and them as far as the city and the ask for a line item budget with expectations of what they're going to be asking the county in the Marion area to do.
And also, I'm not tagging on what Paper said, I would like to know what the debt is, what the item is, what the remaining balance is on the debt, and the payment amount. So that way, when they say that debt services, whatever, we've got a copy of them and we know what they're talking about. Sure.
And I will ask.
Okay. Thank you. Next on the agenda, item B, is the Mill Creek DDR grant. Mr. Wood.
Yes, sir. Several months ago, you had a presentation believe from the TDA and other partners in Old Fort. If you remember where Fall Hardware was there at Catawba Avenue, it's been down for many years now, several years. That has been proposed for a small park that would be maintained through a partnership there and various partners in the town. The county was asked to be an applicant for a study grant to the Division of Water Resources. That grant was awarded. It was a $50,000 grant that will pay for the engineering and design and study. And then the partners there will apply for future funding for actual construction. And so what you've got tonight is a design contract with Destination by Design. The total cost is $100,000. $50,000 of it is the DWR grant, and the other half is McDowell TDA. So no county funds are in this.
Mr. Chair, make a motion to approve the engineer contract as presented.
Second.
Discussion,
With a note that there's no county funds involved.
other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Next, we've got item C, which is the Glenwood Parade Road closure request, and we always grant that to them every year, and so I just entertain a motion.
Make a motion we approve the road closure as presented, and if you've never been to that parade, go to it. It's really good, and they throw out lots of candy, so take your grandkids or kids, and they really will enjoy that parade.
Second.
We have a motion second. Any discussion on that?
The event will be Saturday, November 25th, Old 221 in Glenwood Community. This is sponsored by the Glenwood Hurricane Fund.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Next is on the agenda is the water project update. Mr. Wooden, if you'd lead us off.
Yes, sir. This is an area where, I guess since I've been with the county, we like to talk about whenever we can, and certainly these days there's a lot to talk about. We have construction about to start in Nebo. We're just right at the cusp of construction starting on our phase 1 project, which is primarily around, there's going to be extension down NC 126. So from the old, from the Wildlife Road intersection where 126 takes that sharp curve through the golf course towards the county line, State Park area. That line is going to start construction very soon. We've got Lonesome Pine Drive going to start soon. Nemagency, Jack Corpening, Old Number 10 is in that project as well as a Wildlife Road extension. That's all about to start with Hyatt Pipeline out of Haywood County. And as I've said before, they want to move very fast once they do get started. And they've been essentially waiting to get their materials lined up. And so they're raring to go. There will be a letter that will be probably hung on doorknobs for our residents in the affected areas, and the letter will have sign-up information and what that would entail for people when they're ready. It also have some phone numbers in it. If they encounter an issue, with construction, the contractors and the engineers have their own inspectors. They go out and they take pictures and do video to make sure they're seeing the prior condition. But if anybody has an issue with the contractor, messing up their yard, not repairing it as they should, we definitely want to be notified of it so we can add to that oversight list. The next item that is under construction, if you've been in the area, you might see some material stored, is the Universal Water and Sewer Extension Project. The water line that was built as part of this project, let's use past tense there, it has been built along the new road that is accessing the Universal Technology Park where Forza is going in. So that water line is complete already. You'll see two brand new yellow fire hydrants in place. The most complicated part of that water and sewer work is the sewer work. So we are running a sewer line up that new road
that'll serve the Forza property as well as additional work that's to happen there. But we're also going to replace the existing sewer line that was serving the Universal building. This is an opportunity to partner with the city where they had a failing sewer line. So instead of connecting a brand new sewer line to a failing line, that failing line is being replaced thanks to grant assistance. It also benefits the county, of course, because the primary customer on that line is the Universal building. So it helps out everybody by having that line replaced. That has required the closure of the walking trail along the old rail line there, which is very popular. And so when that sewer line is finished, that trail will be reopened, and the part of the project is to repave that trail. So that's been a hot topic I've seen on social media. What happened to the trail? When is it going to reopen? So the project's probably going to take about 3 or 4 months at the longest, and then once it's complete, it'll be reopened and going public. A couple more quick updates here. We have received the permit approval for the Hoppy Tom Hollow water extension. Mr. Silver was here earlier. He is responsible for writing most of that grant, if not all of it, and so deserves a lot of credit and thanks for that. And so we're probably a couple months out from that being advertised. Same for Nebo Phase 2. This is coming back closer to City Marion limits along Memorial Park Road, Old Number 10. I've seen drawings and they're very close to being submitted to the state. We've talked about East End project, which is branching off of the 126 line that's about to start. So this will serve the area around the golf course in that vicinity. That grant's been awarded, and we've signed the engineering contract, and they're also started that. And we are going through the engineering selection process for what we call the Exit 90 Harmony Grove Road project for some very short water extensions there in the Nebo area. Now, shifting geographies for a second, coming back towards southwest of Marion, south of the interstate, the board had identified as a goal some months ago to serve the West Marion Elementary and the surrounding community. So starting with the school, I think was your thought, of course, as an anchored institution. You've got a fire department substation, you've got large churches, you've got businesses, and so you're wanting to serve the entire community in addition to the church. I've mentioned before that we've received a $500,000 Appalachian Regional Commission grant. And I've let you know, of course, and it's been reported in the press, that the county has received $4 million for water projects in the state budget. Now that, I'm asking for direction tonight. That just says water project for McDowell County. I think I know where you want to go with it, but I'd like it to be directed by the board.
Mr. Chairman, I'll just state that the West Marion area is there's a lot of homes out there that would like to have the opportunity to tap in and have water coming through there. And to go around and make a loop where we're not paying for water being dumped at the end of the line is important. So I think that Mr. Wooten's right in just starting and branching off, but going to the school, hanging a right at Marler, coming back on Zion Hill Road and going down. I know Joe Washburn, the fire department, is really excited about the potential to have that water right there at his fire department. Very excited.
In the communication, also, I think you sent the school system.
Yes, sir.
Asking for some kick, and have you heard anything back from that?
I have heard, I guess, a confirmation of the discussion. We did talk about that at our education committee meeting several weeks ago. The bigger context that we've got to look at here is, if you look at the entire project area to serve, being the school, being Zion Hill Road, also the Arrowhead development, there are contaminated wells in that area that we'd like to try to serve as well. if you look at that entire area, you may be looking at closer to a $7 million project when it's all said and done. So it's probably important that we do have some financial assistance from the school system in that greater scheme.
What would you think would be a reasonable amount to request?
A number that we've looked at before was either $500,000 or $600,000 to help get that extension towards the school. Which is and that number was arrived at, that's about, again, based on recent estimates, that's about half of the cost not being met by the 500,000 ARC. So it was about a roughly $1.6 million cost to get to the school, and $500,000 or $600,000 commitment would get.
You need a motion from the board to move forward on that.
That would be nice, a formal request.
Yeah.
I make that move out. That's one of my priorities, is getting water to the school there and to that community, so I'll make that move.
Second.
Discussion?
Did that include asking for the school system?
Yes.
Okay,
Is
right.
the 500 level?
Yes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Mr. Wood. Broadband update, Mr. Wood.
We probably talk about the need for broadband maybe second to the need for drinking water sometimes. In some places in the county, it's maybe broadband first. I mentioned last month that I think it was that same week as the meeting, I was meeting with a couple of folks, but including a representative from the Department of Information Technology from Raleigh, the broadband office, Mr. Jeffrey Brooks. Mr. Brooks comes to the state from the private sector, where he worked in this space for a very long time, and his passion is broadband. That's what he knows. He lives and breathes it and drinks it. And so his goal is to get in the department, of course, but his personal goal, I think, is to have every household in the state covered with broadband. I don't know that that's entirely possible based on some places in the state, but I think he's convinced he's going to try to be the one to do it, which is great for us.
You have somebody with a vision.
We'll ride with him. So we had a very productive meeting. The way the broadband office is working through the CAB, the Completed Access to Broadband grant process, is they are doing chunks of counties at a time, where I think starting either October or November, they will work with probably no more than 4 or 5 counties at a time, to where they're essentially working to do a request for qualifications that we posted statewide, nationwide essentially, that broadband companies could submit a qualification statement for. And the state it's not a state down process. They're helping to put the word out, but he said as soon as they get that posted and it closes, they're going to be calling the counties, and they're going to say, hey, here's who applied, this is what they're saying they can do, and this is our information about their financials, about where they've performed. Spectrum, those sorts of companies we kind of know, but there may be somebody from somewhere we maybe don't. And so they're going to work hand in hand to make sure the county is very comfortable with the company, and that they've passed all the muster. So he indicated that December would probably be the soonest that they would post our opportunity. And what they do is they post all the unserved addresses, which they have a really good database now of ones that are served. And so the ones that are unserved, a company is going to say, hey, I can cover 90% of those, or 80, or whatever the percentage might be. And obviously, we're going to hope for the one that can serve the most. And if it just turns out to be, let's say, 90% of those unserved, and that's the highest, that's probably what we'll go with within the budget that we have. So we do have $900,000 remaining from American Rescue Plan Act funds that you've set aside. And there's a formula that we're working with them on. It's about a $2.5 million project that can come out of having 900,000 as a local match. So we'll be limited some by the budget, but otherwise, the sky pretty much is the limit. He also talked about other opportunities. They call it the stopgap fund, which is really music to my ears because it involves state funding and private funding. There's no county funding. And that might be a situation where you have, a short dead-end road perhaps, maybe 4 or 5 houses that all the other projects and grants haven't served, that the company can step forward with the county probably identifying it to say, hey, we've got the short road here, we need a little bit of help, and then they'll come in and fill it. That one's to come, cab is gonna go next, and then the stop, yeah. And then there's pole replacement projects. One of the biggest issues for the companies is that for Spectrum, for example, I think Mr. Tank touched on this, Duke Energy or Rutherford Electric on the poles primarily. And a lot of times the poles aren't tall enough to add additional infrastructure. And so if they have to be replaced, that's a cost that Spectrum would otherwise have to swallow. And so that's a cost. I have to order the poles, those sorts of things. So they're trying to provide a pole replacement cost grant for the companies. So essentially the state is paying for those new poles that they require. So and there's a couple more coming down the pipe, but it's in process. And so we'll be talking about it certainly November and December as we will build up towards the application.
Good. Thank you, Mr. Wood. Last old business is our capital update, Mr. Wood.
Yes, sir. Mostly update. We are very close to needing action, and I know we keep maybe pushing it off, but sometimes things are outside of our control. I had hoped to have met with our architect in the Recreation Center in time to have some recommendations ready for you tonight. But our architect is fulfilling his civic duty for at least a week, serving a jury in his home county, so we were only able to meet with him last week. Mr. Marsh and I met with him to ask for bids to be clarified and updated to give you options. And the options for the Recreation Center would be what can really be done for $4 million, which is the state funding that you have, whether that's focusing entirely on pool and driveway, ball field, driveway, a combination, might be half and half, those sorts of things. And we came up with 3 or 4 different options and maybe a multitude of others. But 4 to go back to the low bidder at this point, and to get some feedback on that. I do have a call tomorrow afternoon with the School of Government to talk about the bidding process, just to be certain about what we've talked about, if we can value engineer with the low bidder to the degree we're talking about. So I just want to have another one more conversation with them just to be absolutely certain. So hopefully, may ask maybe next week, once we have a little more information, maybe have a workshop later in the month, or either that or November meeting, knock it out. The services building, we're still in a holding pattern there. Maybe looking at some options cheaper than what the probation parole staff will need in the services building. If you recall, the cost was going to be over $800,000 to make adjustments for that second floor in the services building for what they need, which is a lot of money. So we're trying to see if there's any other options there that are low or no cost. And we talked about the animal shelter. see it. We've got a meeting set up, I believe, next week with the architect to get the latest and greatest in cost there. So this could be something that if you have a workshop, you can maybe package that with the recreation center later on. So some of this is when you're dealing with a third-party vendor. Everyone's busy these days. Maybe the best we could do. The Garden Street parking lot, future maybe is what I should say. The building is gone, of course. Mr. Riddle, who's our public services director, has received a couple of quotes. I think we're looking for one more on removing the remnants of the driveway and the foundation that are there. And so that whole side, there is an old fuel tank that's in the ground that will need to be removed. Used to pump your gas there. And so all that would need to be removed out, and we'll have a clean slate to start over for a parking lot. And I have had conversations with city staff, and there's been discussions at the utility committee about the cooperative project in the city of Marion. And the feedback that I received was, come back to us once it's ready to be made into a parking lot. So that makes sense. That's all I have on the capital.
Okay, thank you.
I would like to ask if there's going to be a workshop scheduled, that we could have it at 5 o'clock or after in the evening.
And I think that would help out a lot for consultants too.
Okay. Under new business, item A, first thing on that list is the budget reports. Mr. Wood.
Yes, sir. Start off there with your property tax collection. Ms. Anya Frey had to go back and close with the shop, but you see the year-over-year report from last year to this year. We also have the sales tax report in there. This is for 12 months, so this is the last report for this past fiscal year. And again, it's the way things go. These are, July sales, the June sale. Any questions I can try to answer for you?
Local economy remains very strong. Very strong.
It is. People are. I think the message of shopping at local establishments, it really hit home during the pandemic, and I think people's habits have changed. So hopefully for the better.
Had a Burke County Commissioner today at the mega site dedication or groundbreaking. He said that he would be in McDowell County tomorrow night eating supper.
Very good.
I said, well, good, come on, bring all your family, friends, there.
There's at least one there that owns property here, so I hear from them from time to time. That's all I have on budget.
Okay, next on the agenda is the administrative items. Mr. Wood, what do you have on that?
Just one item tonight, we do have EMS write-offs, a little over $64,000 this month.
Mr. Chairman, make a motion we approve the administrative items as presented, including the EMS write-offs.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you, Mr. Wood. Next, is that all you had?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next is board appointments. Madam Clerk, do you have anything on board appointments?
Yes, I do. So this is the second reading for the Juvenile Crime Prevention Council. This is the vacancy that's available. There's also attached information in your packets, which includes the resignation of Sarah Brewer and also an application for juvenile Kalani Herrera, who wishes to serve on that board. This is the second reading for the Historic Preservation Commission. The members must demonstrate interest and background in history. Kim Marion has an application in your packet for that. This is the first reading for one vacancy with the Transportation Advisory Board, and this is the first reading for two vacancies with the Planning Board.
Thank you for that update.
So you have Ms. Herrera and Ms. Moran that have applied.
Only two.
for the JCPC and the Historic Preservation Commission for those vacancies. If you'd like to.
Mr. Chairman, make a motion that we approve the applicants as presented.
Second.
Any other discussion?
I would say the young lady who was on that Juvenile Crime Prevention Council was being bragged on tremendously by one of the directors, and so I think it's great to see young people wanting to get involved, and that's our future, and I'm glad to see that. She's doing a great job.
I met her at the last JCPC meeting, and she's an outstanding young lady, so
Good.
she'll be great.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Discussion. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Okay.
You had one other item, fall under board appointments. You had a request from the Library Board of Trustees on their meeting schedule. It's a slight adjustment from their current meeting time frame now, which is set by their bylaws, the second Tuesday in January, April, July, and October. I'd like to move that to February, May, August, and October to better reflect some of the times of the programming.
I don't have a problem with that.
We recommend that too.
Yes, sir.
Make a motion we approve allowing for the bylaw change to allow for the meeting dates to be moved.
Second.
Got a motion, second, discussion. All in favor of that say aye. Opposed? Thank you. Next, under tax matters, Mr. Wooten.
Yes, sir. You have some 3 discoveries this month, release under 100, at least 1 refund, 2 releases over 100, and then your motor vehicle refunds this month.
Mr. Chairman, make a motion we approve the releases and reveals as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Opposed? Okay, thank you. Did anyone sign up for citizen comments? No one signed up? Okay. We will now back up to item B under appointments and have the historic Carson House update from the Carson House Board. I see several members here tonight, so we're going to turn the floor over to you guys.
Well, thank you for coming to the Carson House, and this just brings back a lot of memories to have you in the same room where McDowell County was formed. It's not too many counties can claim that they can still meet in the place where the county was founded. But we welcome you here, and we appreciate all the support that you've given. I just wanted to quickly update, and then I'm going to turn it over to Doug Swaim. Chuck Abernathy would like to apologize for not being here. He's really sick and in bed, and usually nothing keeps him down, but he's down. So, anyway, one of our main goals is to try to, promote history and promote McDowell County history and the love of history. And we start with the kids when they're young. We have a program for young kids to come here, and of course the school system. We're still worn out from having over 400 fourth graders just the other day, and then Eastfield is coming next week, so we're so excited to be able to share that, and we promote, really qualified volunteers to come as living history interpreters so they can get that living history experience. And then, again, I apologize for us meeting in here and not the arbor. The lady that rented the arbor this evening, rented it, is from Indiana. So we're spreading out out of state, even for people to come here and visit here. So that does attract a lot of people to the county, and the programs that we're doing, we got a lot of things going on, like especially our Christmas tours, our home tours, our fall family fun day that we just had. We had a great crowd, and everyone had a wonderful time, and we just try to make McDowell County citizens happy and make them love this home. It's their home. Well, I'll turn it over to Doug. He wants to give a quick update on our new interpretive center that we're really excited to be moving forward on. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doug Swaim, longtime board member here at the Carson House. Now, for us, the interpretive center is a big deal. For you folks, I know you got a lot on your minds. Let me give you just a quick recap so you'll remember what we're doing. Most historic sites like this operate with a visitor center to support the operation of the historic house. We don't have one, haven't had one. We've operated since we first started using this place as a museum in the early 1960s without a visitor center. About 12 years ago, we decided it was really our highest priority to build a visitor center, but at the time we couldn't afford to proceed with it. Our finances have improved, and so we brought the plans off the back burner a couple of years ago and restarted planning to build the thing. We developed a planning budget at that time of $1.2 million for a structure that is about a 2,700 square foot, two-story structure that would be added to the back of the historic house and that would evoke an L that was on the house for a long time between the 1850s until about 1910. A $1.2 million planning budget. We plan to use about $500,000 of our own resources for that, a little over $500,000. We have a state appropriation of $375,000 that's coming through you folks. And then the balance of the budget we're raising through public fundraising and bank financing. We've been working with an architect. We have plans. Over the last 2 months, we've been talking to contractors here in McDowell County and in Burke and in Lenore County, or Caldwell County. And just recently decided to offer the contract to England Builders here in McDowell County. We anticipate that we'll sign the contract with England Builders sometime within the next month and a half. And Grayson has said that he thought he could start on our project around April 1st of next year. And so for us, that's great progress. We're happy to be moving along. We thank you for your big support for our operating budget here, and hope you'll follow closely our progress as we break ground and bring this thing to conclusion. So, any questions about that?
I'd just like to say we appreciate what you guys do here. This is certainly a historical marker here in the county, and I would love to see, look forward to seeing the expansion here and the visitor center open up. I think it will bring even more people.
Yeah. What's Grayson saying about the time frame of the build?
I think he has said about the same time it would take to build a house, 9 or 10 months, something like that. So we're anticipating that it'll basically coincide with what would be our 2024 season, which is April through December. So basically the whole time that we'll be open next year, we'll be building right behind the house.
Mr. Chairman, it's always customary that the Carson House is so kind to host the Board of Commissioners every year, and they provide a meal. I would like to make a motion that in lieu of their gratitude, that we go ahead and pick that bill up tonight, and that way we just, our way of saying thank you for hosting.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
We appreciate you guys. And, speaking of having the meeting in here, it would please me to maybe set aside every other year or something to come back and have it inside, or every couple of years, have it back inside here, just for the historical value of it.
HGTV's got a show, If Walls Could Talk,
Yeah.
and if these walls could talk, could you imagine what they would say? And I think it's very, very, we're probably the only county in the state that meets in the House where the first meeting to form the local government probably started at. I mean, I think that's highly unique, and And I just love being in the house. I mean, I love houses anyway. I like real estate and just being in here and the way they constructed properties back in the day this was built, so much better it seems like than what they do now. I mean, they built them to stay around a while. And so this is
Yeah,
wonderful.
I like this atmosphere. So, I'd like to put that on the motion to board. Do that. Could we do that?
Make a motion, we meet in here every other year, moving forward. Till a future board says no way.
All in favor of that, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. All right. Commissioner staff reports, anything on that?
One thing I will mention, we're coming up on Veterans Day, first couple of weeks of November. Last year, we participated in Project Greenlight, which was I think initiated by us, National Association of Counties, but the state Association of County Commissioners has encouraged every county to do that this year as well. So with your consent, we'd like to do that with our county buildings, and it's making sure we have green lights literally illuminate our buildings and light bulbs and things to talk about how important veterans are to our community.
Make a motion, we instruct staff to do that.
Second.
I certainly appreciate that. All in favor of that, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Most of you probably heard the news, but Lake was telling us that they found a Vietnam veteran just recently still in his plane in Vietnam and brought his body home, and he's from Weaverville, so they had his funeral just this week. So, you know, that means something to me, and you know, that one more veteran got to come home. So, is there anything else?
Your meeting next week, or would you like to come back to your boardroom for that meeting, the director? Would you like to be at the agency?
I'd say, I don't know. It doesn't
I
matter.
make a motion, we meet one more month in the building.
Okay, good idea.
Second.
All in favor of that, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we'll meet there. There, motion we adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone, for coming.